All right. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry we had technical difficulties. And I want to make sure that our Community Advisory Committee members who are online are able to hear us okay.
Yes, I can hear. This is Chrysanthus.
Please unmute yourself and let me know.
Yes, I'm able to hear. This is Chrysanthus.
Chrysanthus and Pramila, can you hear us okay?
Yes, Lydia, thank you. I can hear you well. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I can hear. This is
Can you say that one more
Chrysanthus.
time?
I can hear. This is Chrysanthus.
Pramila, Chrysanthus.
Hi, Lydia, this is Pramila. Can you hear me? Lydia? Hello?
This is Chrysanthus. I can hear. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
I can hear you, Pramila, but I don't think they can hear either one of us.
Yeah, looks like, yeah, they can't hear us, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm driving, so I can't be like doing a lot of poking and finding people. So maybe like somehow you can tell them neither one of us are being heard, but we can hear each other.
Okay, I'll let her know. Okay, you concentrate on your driving.
Okay.
Hear us.
I apologize if it's just like one loud hello.
Okay. Can we try again?
Hi, Lydia, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. And Saranta said she can hear you guys too.
Great. Thank you
Okay.
both for joining us online.
No problem. Thank you.
We'll go ahead and get started. I'm sorry about the delay. And thank you all for being here today. Unfortunately, Dr. Adams was not able to join us today due to some health issues. And so he asked me to start the meeting. Some of the items on the agenda. The first item on the agenda is for you all to select your chair and co-chair. Once the chair and co-chair are selected, then they will lead the meeting, and I'll be here as support. Sound good? Yes, Rudy.
What are the duties for chair and co-chair? What do they do?
So typically what happens is the chair and co-chair will work with the RESJ team to develop the agenda for future meetings and lead the meeting. So yeah. Let's start going around the table and introduce ourselves so that we all know who we all are, and then I'll also ask our members who are joining online. Let's start with Rudy.
Okay, I'm Rudy Duncan. I'm a 7th grader at Kellogg Middle School. I use he, him pronouns.
I use sugar pronouns 8th grade, and I go to Belmont. My name is Jean. I go to Cleveland High School.
My name's Nahea. I work with Reconnection Services and I use Shader. Hi, I'm Jessica Montes, and I also work for Reconnections Services.
Hi, I'm Lexo Cal Cupper. I'm a junior at Franklin and a member of Portland Public Schools Institute for Justice, Palestine.
Hi, my name's Ikansh Gupta. Also a member of Student Justice in Palestine, Lincoln, I use him.
I'm Sylvia Hart-Landsberg, and I'm here because I want to talk about Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps. I work with a number of activists against that program, and I use she, her pronouns.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marco Matias. I am a member of the Racial Equity Social Justice team here at Portland Public Schools, and I am the SUN program manager, so I oversee the entire SUN service delivery model in the district.
And my name is Lydia Lopez Gamboa. I use she, her, ella pronouns, and I am the project manager for the team. So welcome, everyone. Thank you again. And last time in our meeting, we did discuss that we wanted to select our chair and co-chair. And I believe there was a brief discussion about, oh, I'm sorry, Crescentius. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chrysanthus Lathan. I work for the Professional Learning and Leadership Department. I'm a new principal coach for PPS, and I use she, her pronouns.
Thank you, Crescentius, and I'm sorry about that. Pramila, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everyone. I'm Pramila Kumar, and I'm a senior budget analyst at Portland Public School, and I'm happy to be here.
Great, thank you. Sorry about that. Let's recap again. We are selecting the chair and co-chair for this committee today. That's the goal. And in our last meeting, we discussed briefly the process for which you all wanted to select your chair and co-chair. And I think I heard, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that was most likely going to be a self like selection, so people would either vote for themselves. So I'm not sure if we want to open it up to discussion about how you all wanted to select your chair and co-chair, and then we can move on to how we select that. Crescentius, did you have something to add? I see your hand raised.
Oh, it should be back down. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So do we?
One of them needs to be a student too, correct?
I'm sorry?
Does one of the chair, co-chair need to be a student as well?
I think that's what was discussed last time. Yes. I mean, it would be ideal to have.
Yeah, I think it's in the charter. That we have to do it or not. I think it would be.
So like, how do we want to write names and then draw names, or
Does anyone want to like nominate themselves or volunteer?
Mhm. So maybe out of the group who is currently here, like who is interested in becoming a chair and co-chair? And then you can all vote on the people who have selected themselves as a chair. Chair? What do you all think? Anyone?
Is this internal to you guys' committee, or is it?
Yes, it's for CAC members. Yes, thank you for clarifying. Maybe show of hands?
Well, I think it's kind of hard to vote for people if nobody will self-select, so. Maybe we nominate people.
I would be willing to do it. I don't feel strongly about doing it. But if no one wants to do it, I would be willing to do it, is how I would frame it. But if someone else feels more strongly about doing it, I would totally support them in doing it.
Okay. Our students,
I think nominating someone else is a good idea.
nominate somebody else. Okay. Do you all want to write it on a piece of paper and then?
Let's drop.
Mhm. What do you think?
It's up to
I
y'all.
can't write because I'm driving, but I would like to, he's not here today, I don't think, but I would like to consider Marte Brown.
Yeah.
Marte?
Do you think you would want to do it, Chrysanthus?
And also the I can't remember her name, but the young lady that goes to the same school with them that's there. What's your
Anna?
name, sweetheart? I forgot.
Oh, is he?
I could ask her.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not trying to put nobody on the spot, but if we're not moving, then we
Yeah.
gotta start somewhere. And I think that those two have the ability to capture community and student voice, and also to synthesize ideas so that, you know, things aren't like, don't seem one-sided or agenda driven by a particular person or a group of people within the group, if that makes sense. Impartiality, I guess is my word.
Okay, so am I hearing correct that we will reach, or you all will reach out to Jamarte and find out if he is willing to do it, or are you all voting for him?
Chrysanthus, do you know if Marte wants to do it? I think that would just be something we might want to check in about. I would totally vote.
I'm not sure if he would want to do it, but if we're starting somewhere and nobody's saying anything, then I'm gonna say who I would recommend and trust, to be quite frank.
So do we want to postpone the vote from today?
We want to use this time to determine who we would want to vote. So like, let's come up with our nominees now. Then when we reconvene, we can readdress that and then come up with a decision. And then at least between now and then, we can continue to submit nominations. Does that sound good? Love it.
Yes. Okay,
I agree.
so postpone until next meeting. Okay, okay. All right, well, and I'm sorry, I skipped the item where we had the public comment, and I want to make sure that our the people that are here to comment are able to comment before we jump to the rest of the agenda. So we have 2 members. So I believe sorry, your name escaped me.
Okay, yeah, Ikansh Gupta.
Panch Gupta, thank you. So you have 3 minutes to provide your public testimony. I'm going to put a timer here, and as soon as that timer is done, then you wrap up your sentence. Okay? So let me know when you're ready.
Ready when you are.
Great. Ready?
We live in a strange time. I see on Twitter a Palestinian poet recording the bombs going off around him. A video recorded by an IDF soldier parading naked Palestinian men through the street. Then I can scroll down, reading the politicians at DC lie about those same crimes. Must send more guns, tanks, rockets. This is Israel's right to defend itself. 33,000 people must die. 12,300 innocent children are just collateral damage. It's simply the cost of war. I'm a student at PPS. That means I hear this rhetoric every day. That means that the teachers in this district are silenced for speaking out against this. Call the Palestinian people anything other than animals and you come under attack. Learn anything you want, unless it's Palestine. Speak freely, unless it's Palestine. Embrace your culture, unless it's Palestine. Even the state's own laws, I'm referring to SB 664, mean nothing so long as the district is able to avoid standing up for human rights. The law clearly states that school districts must provide instruction to students about all genocides. Why does this law stop at Palestine? Did the International Court of Justice ruling on January 26 not convince you that it is? I'm tired of pretending I don't care, tired of trying to dissociate from the world just so it hurts less. Dehumanization, apathy, and ignorance are the fuel that allows hate to burn. So let me say this. We all bleed the same red when shot. We all burn the same dirty yellow when bombed. We all explode in the same shower of viscera when bombed. In South Africa, apartheid was undermined by the BDS movement, where people from all walks of life and governments of all levels work to ensure that they don't bankroll the bullets being fired on those in South Africa demanding equality. Now it's your turn. In addition to boycotting, teachers must be educated about Palestine in the same way they are about the Holocaust, so they know how to, in turn, educate their students about history and how it relates to what's happening now. The alternative is to continue allowing teachers to be bullied into silence, as has happened in multiple times in my school alone. We use the Holocaust as a distant example in history of genocide. We blame the Nazis and we blame the Germans and we debate in class about how, oh, why didn't they do anything about the Holocaust? And I look right now at what's happening, and I can unfortunately see why the Germans didn't do anything. They're bullied into silence when the teachers, if the teachers talked about it, they'd be dragged away and killed. Now that doesn't happen here, and you can do something about it, unlike in Germany. What about in Palestine? There's genocide happening right in front of us. We should do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sylvia,
Yes,
do you want to state your name?
right. And will you give me a 2.5-minute warning?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. My name's Sylvia Hart-Landsberg, and I'm a Portland former parent, grandparent, concerned citizen, professional educator. And I'm here to talk about the Junior Reserve Officers Training Program called JROTC. The proposal has been made to the school board already, the formal proposal that the schools, that the district
2.5 minutes.
invite JROTC to install programs of military training in our high schools. And that vote is coming either May 7th or a later board meeting. They're being complex about telling us when that will be voted on. Around the district, people are forming vigorous opposition, and I'm here asking you to support it actively. I've only got time for a few basic points. This is not all that one needs to know, and you may know a lot about JROTC already. And they're all about equity, which is what you're here for, to advise people about equity. JROTC is part of a poverty draft that offers an inferior education to students of color and low income. I'm sure that you have thought about that and then think, yes, but everything else for people who are discriminated against has disadvantages too. So I have to look at possible military participation in light of that. But JROTC trains people explicitly and directly for going into the Army. And the chances of a person being killed, seriously wounded, or developing PTSD who goes into the military are much greater than for other students who stayed in the regular programming. I'm getting ahead of myself. What JROTC is military training. It offers a course or courses in a school, and students are not required to take it. But its aim is to get people into the military. It's funded by the Pentagon, so its whole purpose is for the military. They talk about how they're there to help the student. And in the process, they, in some schools, can give the students academic credits for the courses that are taken in the JROTC program. And those courses are taught by instructors who are not professionally trained educators. They're often retired military personnel. They have never decided to go into teaching, to have the calling of learning how to work with youth. That isn't their lookout. Their lookout is to be convivial and to transmit some info. They have no experience in critical skills education, and they are there to work with kids. And they have a much better teacher-student ratio than do the other school teachers in the school. So they do have some cachet, some power and rapport with students. They have more time to mentor them and counsel them. And I'm sure.
3 minutes are.
Oh, they are,
Yeah.
okay. I hope I've given you a flavor for this, and I have not begun to talk about the problems, the flaws with that program. Thank you for this. Thank you.
Thank you. for
Yes.
coming in.
And again, my name is Sylvia Hart-Lansford. I need to go, but this is very crazy way to do it. I'm gonna put my info here on little sheets of paper and pick them up and contact me. And then I will have your contact info. And then I will send it out when I send it to everybody in our groups. We're an amorphous group all over. I would really appreciate being able to talk to you, and I won't send you an email every day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in. All right, so our next agenda item is to determine the process for which our members are wanting to select new members to the team. There was a brief conversation at the last meeting, and wondering if we can, or you all can establish some sort of process. And then, because we are missing a couple of members here, so we want to make sure we get the process on how we wanted it, or how you want to do that, and then get members in whatever process that may be. We can take notes if you like to refer back. But I open it up now to conversation between our CAP members to determine how we want the process to go for the addition of the members.
So are we feeling, I think the last time we talked, we were filling the absent seats, is that what we're talking about?
Correct. So we have a couple that are vacant. One is a student, because he graduated last year, and the other one is a parent, I believe. I'll need to go back to the charter to confirm, but one student and an adult.
So does the adult need to be a parent?
So there are specifics about how many members in each category we need to have. So we're incomplete on the kids. We have enough staff. I just looked at the list and it's like we have enough staff.
So we would need to include another parent. So it has to be parent for parent, we're swapping. So. And then we have a pool applicant.
So like I mentioned last time, we have the pool of the people who applied when we first generated the first Google form for people to apply. We have a pool from there. That you all I can share with you, and you can take a look at it, or do you want to build on that form that we sent out? And see if the questions are still what you want them to be. And resend a Google form out to the community. The current form that we have right now is translated into the 5 different languages.
So we would need to update all of the languages if we change it.
Exactly.
What's the turnaround for something like that?
It could be a couple weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks, depending on, you know, how busy they are.
And I think we talked about the term, would they start their new term when they're installed? Or they would be on a 3-year term based on their new status, and then everyone would else be on their existing.
I think that was a topic up for discussion on how you all wanted to do that. If they finish out the current term and then start over, or does that person come in and does the full term? I think that was something that was discussed, but it wasn't agreed upon.
I think they should get to do the full term. It doesn't really make sense to just, to me at least, to finish someone else's term. Just because. Oh,
And then, so would they be? I know I'm asking a lot of questions. I hope they're relevant questions
Yeah.
for everyone instead of just you. So would this, would they be approved by the board, or are they approved by us, or is it a combination?
So the first round we did, 2 board members were part of the reviewing team. Primala, did you want to add something?
No, I'm good. Sorry.
They were part of the reviewing team of who we should move forward with. And then it was voted in one of the board meetings.
So will it be that same process? So what would our role be in terms of in the selection process? Or are we just agreeing to the mode, whether or not they're coming from the pool of applicants, or if we're resending out? That's the extent of our involvement.
Yeah, so either we keep the same form that was shared out the first time around, or do you want to make changes? And if I could also share what we currently have as the pool, and you all could review all the possible candidates that we currently have.
But we don't have a say in who gets selected.
You do, well, you do.
We do.
You do, because you're reviewing the applicants and then you are sort of like scoring them, right? And so then there's a conversation between, last time we had 2 board members, so I'm wondering if that's going to be the same process on who we should move forward with. And so you both, PAC members and members of the board, if they want to, can provide input on who we should move forward.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. I think my concern was, I think it would be good to review the applicants, but it has been like 2 years, so. Just if people are still interested, or if people are still students or still parents, that would be. I would have a only limiting it to, I guess, that pool, that makes sense.
That is correct.
So then-
And there may be some families that are moved out of our district by now too, and so, you would need to review and then find out if they're still in the district. I think that may be like a double duty, and maybe if we just resend what we currently have. And have them
Reapply.
reapply. It's up to you.
I think it makes sense. To redistribute the current form, providing there's nothing that's significantly time sensitive or time relevant. And then for those who are in the pool, maybe just send out a separate something to them, just saying, hey, we know that you were interested. We have openings. If you are still interested, please reapply. That way, we know two things, if they're still interested and if they're still. But then we get a more broad pool of applicants as well. And everyone starts from a brand new space.
Do you all want me to share the Google form that we created back then and have you give it a review?
I think that would
Find
be-
out if you want to make tweaks to it or not. And then I can provide support with, if the form needs to be changed, I can definitely provide support with the submitting the request for translation. And with communications also, just sending out to PPS community.
So like the final question I think I have, perhaps, is when would they be installed? Would it be as soon as possible per se, or would it be at the year? But when would they become a part of there? Any thoughts on when the new members would be added to the collective?
This one, we look at somebody. We have a vacancy.
As soon as they can join, is that what? Okay.
It might be good to get more, just more people in general and new people.
Okay, so as next steps, what I will do is I will share with you all the form that was distributed a couple of years ago. You'll review, let me know if you need to make changes to it, and if not, we have everything we need. And if there are no changes, we have the translations already set. And good to distribute widely to our PPS community. If there are changes you want to make to the Google form, you'll let me know what those are. And then I'll need to request the translation services to get it translated in 5 different languages. And then once that is done, we can distribute.
So with translation services, once you request, is there a lead time? Like you have to request it and then get to it in 3 weeks, or does it make sense to request it and then give us the form and then give us a deadline to have our feedback to you? You know what I mean? Like if it takes 3 weeks from the time that you make the request, or do you understand what I'm saying? So should we make the request at the same time that we're looking at it, or do we have to complete?
No, because you all need to complete that first. I need to have the document ready
to send?
when I send it to have it be translated.
And then from there, it's in the queue, and it can take.
Exactly. And it could take up to 3 weeks. Last time we did a rush on it. and he was ready sooner than that. And that is also set it next request. We haven't rushed. So, okay, so we'll move forward that way. Chrysanthius and Pramila, do you have anything else to add to this process?
I think that's a great idea that let's use that same Google Sheet, and then whatever changes we want to make, we can do that. And let's see going forward that what we come up with,
I think it's a great idea too. Everybody kind of said what I was thinking. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Students, do you want to add anything? Are you okay? Okay. Okay. All right. The other item we had on the agenda is last meeting, you all have discussed wanting to create work groups among members. There was a list of topics that you all wanted to discuss within those work groups. And so we said we would revisit at this next meeting about how you all want to go about establishing those work groups. You also talked about conducting site visits and how you all want to do that. So I open the floor for you all to discuss.
How do you clarification? With the work groups, they're allowed, am I correct in that they are allowed to be less than a quorum that we cannot, so there has to be 6, no more than 6.
No more than 6.
No more than 6 in each work group. And we're able to work on tab, but not make decisions about the tenants.
Correct. So it would be sort of like how our board conducts their committee meetings right now. So work groups will get together to discuss the topic or topics and then bring it back to the full group if there needs to be a vote. Now, just based on what I've seen for our board, they do provide like updates at the board meetings on where they're at. So I'm wondering if you do the same, even if there's no vote required, if you all want to provide updates, you all can provide updates during our quarterly meetings.
But we would need to vote on what the work groups would be.
Correct, the topics that you all want to discuss. I think there was, I want to say it was Anna, but I can't remember. She sent an email with some of the topics. She suggested some topics. I can pull up the email.
Yeah, I think we talked about some topics last time too. Like we didn't. I guess too, this is like a side, but we didn't officially vote on them, but kind of like there was some agreement on it, or I don't know. So I don't know if the topics that we need to officially vote on them or how that works as a structure or whatever. Like we brainstormed some super last time.
So I think as long as there's a consensus within the CAC members about those work group ideas, then you all can move forward. So some of the topics, there were 6. One was the PPS response, to what's happening in Palestine. Two, neighborhood, slash southeast base district wide inequities. And three, centering curriculum. And under the same topic, it says choices made around curriculum, widespread program changes, whose voice are listened to and amplified. Number 4, school visit group. 5, student voice, and 6, hate speech.
I would like to propose that we have that list data review. I think that one of the challenges is that we don't have complete information about the I think it's a Ready School survey. I'm not sure what the name of the survey was. that-
The student success survey.
Is that the one that talked a lot about how the kids are feeling in schools? Yes. There's some data around demographics in schools that I remember having access to as part of the SEGC.
Oh.
That I think was beneficial here. And then just overall access to the information that you all are using, the board is using to make decisions. Because I think a lot of times we see the decisions being made, but we don't have context of where the data that's important for the students is, and it's hard to come at that with suggestions. If we don't know with the detail. I know there's a lot of work sifting through, I do know that, but I'm open to being a part of that, but I think that that's how we make decisions or suggestions. Do we agree that that's very useful? Formally voting, I'll need to move. Voting on it, I disagree.
So, there are now 7 work group ideas. And I think if you all are gonna divide and do the work for each one of these, there's more items, there are more members. There's more items than there's more members. So I'm wondering if we need to either either do 2 or 3 work group ideas, that the name of the work that you all want to do, and condense it so that you have enough members. Otherwise, you don't have enough.
We can have members of more than one group.
I think you do. I can confirm.
I think it probably makes sense to condense some of them. I think the success, the data would help with the neighborhood.
The neighborhood. Mm-hmm.
And there was another one,
The instruction one.
the instruction. I think those 3.
So those 3 together. Okay. And then the school visit and the student voice could also possibly.
Yeah, well, and I think, sorry.
No.
I think the student voice one might have been actually like, it could have been something else, but I feel like it was like just to have a student work group. A place for students to connect between meetings and like where there's only other students, so it's not maybe as intimidating as coming to the full meeting and brainstorm topics that are important to you as students, things that you're seeing in your schools, and like suggest agenda items actually, and kind of have like some time and space to think about that prior to the meeting so that there's more student voice in the meeting. That makes sense. I think that's how I interpret that at least. That would be like a student affinity / work group.
So that one was in.
Okay. are you all, how are you assigning these?
I feel like I want it to be volunteer. I don't think we need to assign people to them. They're work groups, not committees, right?
Correct.
So from a work group, wouldn't it be more valuable to have people who are interested in that work volunteer? I think that would be the key.
Maybe we could have like a,
Mhm.
so that everybody can pick one or maybe even two of the different work groups they wanna be in, what subject they gonna do, and then or put into those groups that way.
Okay,
Very good.
do you think it would be helpful if I can help with this, create a Google Doc where we list the work group ideas and then share it with you all, and then you all can put your name on the topic that interests you?
I mean, the only problem with that though is that there's some people who the groups might not be very evenly distributed. So if a bunch of people are interested in one certain
Yes.
thing and only one or two people are interested in another thing. like,
Mhm.
That could happen.
That could happen.
I think that also it would inform them what we want to be working on, if that makes sense. But yeah,
Do you think we can get started with that document and then see what the interest is? And then if we see that one of the items has members and others don't, we can try to balance it out? Or you all can balance it out. Sorry, I keep saying we. It's okay.
Reasonable. And that, like you said, that would determine whether or not that's a topic or a group that we need to put an embargo on for a short while if no one's interested in doing it, or at this moment, no one has a capacity to do it, then we could save that for later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
yeah, that sounds good. I also think it's okay to have small work, like 2 people is still work. If 2 people committed to something, they can still get along.
Okay, I can do that. I can follow up on that and start that document, share it with you all. Well, we have until 7. And we don't have anything else on the agenda. The next item was closing the next steps. I do, however, wanted to just briefly mention, I sent an email earlier today about postponing the Palestinian conversation until our next meeting. We have Dr. Adams who is out due to medical reasons. And typically what happens is that he's the executive sponsor for this membership. And Dr. Husk, our superintendent, recommendation was to make sure we had someone from the leadership with him in attendance for that conversation. We also had, as part of that conversation, we had the agenda item to talk about hate speech. And Will Fernandez, who is our senior program manager, is the person who is leading that work within the district. He was pulled to another meeting to represent Dr. Adams. And so he's our subject matter expert on the hate speech protocols and what we're doing in the district. And so they felt that we needed to postpone that until our next get together. And with that, we do have some dates that could possibly be on the table for our next meeting. And I'm wondering if we need to meet earlier than June. We do have a date towards the end of May that is available if we want to get back together. Before June.
Would that be in place of June or in addition to?
In place of June. And I know, there's so many things coming up and, we try to send out the doodle poll so that you all can respond with the best time that works for everyone. And so many things are happening, we try to schedule it based on the responses that we receive. And sometimes we don't get that many responses. And so, wondering if this space, which we could use it to try to schedule that meeting. I can provide you with the dates that we looked at, and then you let us know if one or two dates work for you all. Do you all want to do that?
That works for me, the doodle poll.
You want to do the doodle poll, Chrysanthius?
Yes.
Okay. The members who are in the room, would you like me to provide you the dates and then I can follow up with Chrysanthius and Pramila via email or doodle poll to confirm that these dates work for most of you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Okay, so Chrysanthius and Pramila, I'll follow up with you. I know you're not somewhere where you can look at our dates. Okay, thank you. We have May 28th, which is a Tuesday. We have June 3rd, which is a Monday. June 6th, which is a Thursday. And June 10th, which is a Monday.
I think if you could send me the doodle poll as well, because I'll have to talk to my parents about whether or not they can. send me on
Yes.
those days.
Absolutely, I can do that too.
But
I think I'll yield to whatever is most accessible to the students because they have the biggest barrier. I can reschedule some things.
Lydia, is it possible that can you send an email to all of us and just like you just said all the dates and just write the dates and everybody can reply to your email and just say and they pick their date.
Sure. So without the doodle poll?
Yeah, we got the doodle form, yeah.
Sounds like we're gonna do.
A doodle poll, got it, okay. I can do that.
Are you saying, Lydia, that you're not getting responses to the doodle poll? Because doing another doodle poll is not. It's not getting us anywhere, then you need to figure something else out.
The members that respond typically are the ones who respond every time you send the doodle poll, right? So I wanted to see if there was another way that we could, get the meeting scheduled, the sooner the better, so that we can start planning.
And I guess I'm just wondering, like, if someone doesn't respond to the doodle poll, are we just letting it sit there in silence, or are we reaching out to those people and saying like, yo, when are you available? We're trying to make this meeting. I don't want to put people on blast or anything, but like an email that says, we haven't heard from these folks, like the least you can do is respond to a doodle poll. Because then also we're running up against showing up to these meetings and not even half of the group is here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit frustrated. And one, nobody's here, and two, a lot of the things on the agenda, we could have figured out over email.
Yeah, so
But if
the,
nobody's responding to emails, well, then we're not gonna get anywhere.
well, and that, so the goal for today was to be able to select the chair and co-chair. So that we would, so the chair and co-chair would work with the RESJ team to get an agenda, to plan and prepare for the next meeting.
I think we probably should have had people self-volunteer prior to this meeting. And handle it that way, because we probably knew this was gonna be the result, is we don't have an entire team to be making decisions, like. And then the ones that are here either don't feel comfortable voicing right now and in person, yeah, I'm interested in doing it. Or maybe we don't have all the information of what it is to be a chair or co-chair. Like. Again, that like could have been done before.
I think that's like kind of my question too with the next meeting, and so I understand the agenda got changed today. I still have questions about why that happened and who made that decision, and it doesn't sound like anyone in this room made that decision or even necessarily on the RESJ team. And I understand like there's extenuating circumstances and stuff, but it is frustrating that something that we kind of agreed would be on the agenda for today then got changed today at the last minute, and now we have like a large span of time that we're like trying to figure out how to spill, you know what I mean? But I guess my concern is if we still don't have the chair, co-chair going into the next meeting, if like just the same thing is gonna keep happening, or how do we move past this in terms of whatever we need in place to be able to like actually get through agenda items and start being able to actually make recommendations to the board, which we haven't done yet in the 2 years that this group has been a body, right? So those are kind of concerns also I want to echo that are related to.
I think that we can do one or two things, and this is purely from a solution oriented perspective. We can volunteer to be interim, like someone can someone can volunteer to be interim and then take on the task of being in the gap as the chair or the co-chair in working with the RESJ team to make sure that we reach out to people who are consistently unable for whatever reasons. And I may be one of those people, I don't know, to complete the doodle poll or just get a confirmation that they're able to complete it. I think the issue feels like is we don't have a quorum and we can't move things forward, and that isn't something that the RESJ team seems to have a thumb on the pulse of. I think it's something that we collectively can connect with our peers to figure out what they need to be accessible. I didn't know what Zoom was. I wasn't able to log in. I couldn't get the YouTube. It was just chaos in a hammock for me today. But I think that if we can figure out who's willing to take on that role in an interim perspective, and I will say, I don't mind working with you on that, just, you know, being relentless in my pursuit of people. But I couldn't do it by myself. So I think we have to figure out what that solution can look like for us to get the right people at the table so that we can start moving things forward. And then we can talk about some of the concerns like voices and things like that. But if we still only have 6 people, 8 people, and there's not enough weight behind it, I don't want us to be spinning on wheels if we don't have to, right? So I will volunteer to connect with some of our peers to at least get a response. Now that doesn't determine if people are coming, but at least we'll have an idea. And then I can be part of that. If you can send the description of the role for chair and co-chair. I know what it is because I've done it before, but it can be intimidating and daunting, all of those things if you're not prepared. So I think sharing that information, if you could do that, would be helpful as well. And then in our connection outside of this space, as I'm calling people, and if you all, I think that you can call. However we decide to do that, then we can be discussing any questions about the. I think that's the most important thing is getting people committed to them. And I think if no one is willing to pick up that load or comfortable picking it up, then we're gonna stay in this cycle. So I will, okay, I will open it. Interim. So that's
how-
one solution.
Yeah. How about a co-chair?
I volunteer on the air.
Student.
As an student. Which of you lovely people would like to work with?
Well, I thought that Chrysanthus had two really good nominations for chair and co-chair.
Well, one has to be
Is
a
he,
student,
right?
one has to be a.
Well, yeah, so
And
before you got here, we tried to talk about the nominations and no one really self-nominated.
Right.
And I said that I would be willing to do it, but I don't necessarily need to do it or want to do it, just to like volunteer. Chrysanthus brought up Marte, and Izzy, but Marte's not here and we don't know if he wants to do it or not for sure, so we're gonna follow up with him. And
So yeah, if Marte doesn't want to do it, he's an adult and has the right to say no. I was just throwing his name out there because we were stagnant and in one place. So I just want to make that clear.
We got.
No, and I think people agree Marte would be great too.
Well, I'm only
He wants to do.
in the absence of people and interim. I want to be very clear that I am stepping in the gap until we get somebody. But if Izzy is a good nominee and we want to vote and get that done, we can do that. We have enough, we have 4 plus.
We have
Yeah.
enough members to vote.
And, all right.
So, Chrysanthus and Pramila, you all are ready to vote on having Izzy be co-chair and Adriel be chair, interim chair of the advisory committee.
Sure. You can count my vote in.
Yeah, I vote yes.
You're a yes? Ruth? Easy. Jim?
Yes.
Yeah. Great.
Okay. Next thing, I'm not here.
Yeah.
I agree to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me, my wondering is like, for you, interim, what that looks like
It's on to the next meeting.
until the next meeting, okay. Okay,
So you and Izzy will work together and other people who wanna also help, I guess, but as the chair and co-chair officially help set the agenda. Like materials for the next, is
Yeah.
that correct? Okay.
I mean, I'm basing it off on what I see from our board members. I'll need to take a look at the charter if it specifies what a chair and the co-chair are doing, but I don't think it's specified.
I think it says how you explained it.
Okay, so we have an interim chair and a co-chair. And so we will work together for our next meeting, which
Will be determined based on
the doodle poll.
and reaching out to, so you'll reach out to the students and I will reach out to the adults. If that works, yeah.
So it says co-chairs are responsible, so it says 2 co-chairs.
Oh.
Co-chairs are responsible for meeting facilitation, coordination with the staff to develop meeting agendas, materials, and follow-up. Co-chairs will be the points of contact for the superintendent and Board of Education. 2 co-chairs will serve 1-year terms. Co-chairs will be selected by the committee. At least 1 co-chair needs to be a student.
Okay.
Okay,
So, sorry, while we have a little bit more time, should we talk about like the agenda for the next meeting while we have a larger group here? 'Cause
I think that's helpful. I think that takes some of the weight off of it. Then we can just corral cats. Yeah. I'm gonna do that. Also, oh, we can't. So what do we- And that.
Yeah, you all are welcome to discuss some of potential agenda items. And then you share it with Dr. Adams. And if you want to CC me on it.
You take them.
Hmm.
Can you take us? I know Marco's gone.
Mhm.
I think to your point, one of the things, the information, I would like to get data prepared on the survey that was done, so we can have an understanding what that looks like in this space. You know, that I think the RESJ team talked about it in our last meeting. We're trying to figure out
which,
which data?
the data on the
Student success survey?
yes. That specifically talks about students' impression and their feelings about their
Student
school space.
belongings?
Yeah, belonging, and of that too. So I think that that will help us. I'd like to have that available to look at, so that'll be something we can work with Dr. Adams on to make sure, or whoever else, if that's okay with you guys. I think, that's one thing I would like to put on.
I would like to put, the district's response to Palestine back on the agenda, since that was kind of something you talked about last meeting. And we're not talking about today, so I just would like to make sure we have space to talk about that at the next meeting. And there's some materials that I kind of put together that I don't know if people looked over them or not, but I would love to. That can be up to Izzy and Adriel now, but if you want to use any of that, you're welcome to. We're going to get more consensus from more people, or put together a working group to like come up with more materials together. I don't know.
I think it makes sense to just roll it forward and present it as an intended to be presented.
Will also be useful when you're building out your agenda to determine the time you want these meetings to be, how long you want them to be. I know we've been meeting at 5:30. Sometimes we've met at 6. And how long those meetings are. And how much time you want to spend on each agenda item.
Also, if possible, could we please add school visits to the agenda?
School visits.
Yeah. You said that Will is the resident expert on our
Hate speech.
hate speech. Could we get him to share with us what that policy is?
Yeah, so our the agenda item that we postponed, it was combined.
Okay.
So that's why I'm thinking about how long we want to spend on each agenda item. Considering that currently you only meet for an hour and a half. Just thinking about make some, want to make sure that we give it time that he needs.
I think just in the amount of time. I think that hate speech and slide deck that we put together probably promote some robust conversation. So I would propose that the data be the beginning of it so that we have time for answers and questions, and then we move into the hate speech combined with Palestine so that we have the majority of the time left over. So I'd say maybe 30 or so minutes for the data just to review the outcomes and talk about next steps and action items that we would like to propose. And then open the space to have the presentation, have the review of the policy, and then talk about next steps and answer any questions that. If that makes sense, I probably, and then, you know, maybe have the last maybe 20 or so minutes be about giving us an opportunity to ask questions or propose next things for the agenda. Like that. My sense have to send email that receive it. No, we wouldn't do that. So I'd say maybe 30, probably 40 to 50, and then 20. Towards the end. So we only have those 3 things, right?
And this will
Okay.
And then we need to leave time for public comment.
Is it, do people like meeting for 90 minutes? People want
We don't have everyone here. I don't know, you know, it takes me a little bit to get here because I have to figure out in real time what I'm doing with the kiddo, to be honest. So I think it's maybe need to save that for when we have a fuller amount of people. Unless you guys have suggestions on.
I think if we have a longer meeting time, I think maybe we should start still at 5:30. Because starting it somewhere earlier, it kind of. I mean, it depends on what my schedule is, but it can kind of mess up, like, cause I go to school and then I get out around 4 or something and I don't. And then I get around here by around 4, 5:10, something like that, depending on traffic. And so if we start somewhere around 5, I think we should probably just start later. Or not start later, but end later. If we're gonna have.
That sounds reasonable. So 5:30 start, we maintain that and then up to 7:30 maybe, have another 30 minutes toward the end. If we need to end early, we can. But if we need time.
I don't have time to talk about the school visits, which I feel like is really just coordinating like who wants to go on them and what schools would you envision.
So I heard someone mention Roosevelt, and that's what at least what my mom told me. And I'm from Roosevelt, so I was kind of interested and just, you know, better feel for it and like having more schools.
Do we want to do the school visit conversation before the Palestine hate speech? Does that matter to you guys? Should we do it before? Do the data?
Short, and just have like all the talk inside of it. Conversation.
Okay.
Did you get that?
So let's review one more time. So we have, you would like the student success survey, specifically the student belonging data. And you're wanting 30 minutes to review that. And then we want the district response to Palestine, school visits, public comment. This is what I wrote. So now we need to work on the order of it. So do we want school visits before the data?
I think that's fair. We start with that.
And then we go data. And we we do want to do public comment at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So actually, it's public comment. And then school visits. Data. And district response.
Just want to clarify, is the data going to be provided and reviewed in that version, or will we get the data before the meeting?
I think the request will be, my request was to get it before, so that we
Yeah.
can look at it. And then I feel like there's a slide deck that talks about all of it, and I don't think we need to limit it to just the belonging. I think we can look at the whole slide that talks about the impressions.
success,
and since a parent component also, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to look at it. I want us to have access to all of them. And then review the presentation material that you guys have.
So all of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then you can dig in as deep or as,
okay. So I will check in with our colleagues who do the data piece. And first find out if we can have it to you on time. Then we'll go from there. You mentioned that there's already a slide deck, but I just want to confirm. Before
you guys
pass it.
presented it.
It was presented?
I think you guys did, at the RESJ childcare meeting.
It might be updated. Because they just finished this survey recently, right? Like people completing the survey, so there might be updated data by them.
You're talking about the data that Jasmine provided during our childcare meeting. Okay, I'll check in with her and see.
Okay.
I wasn't at that meeting. so
Okay.
I'll check in with her. Okay. All right.
I just want to say last things with the slide deck, if anyone has like feedback or wants to like change it, I'm totally open to that. I just put that together because I didn't know if there was gonna be other materials or other things for us to look over, but it can be different, or we can add things to it. So if anyone's interested in working on that together before the next meeting, feel free to reach out to me. If you have other things that you wanna bring that are related to kind of policy situation. And then I guess too, like I know sometimes people from the district come and present things to us, and I'm wondering with that topic, if it would be helpful, I wanna know what people think, but to have someone from legal, or I don't know who it is that's like making decisions around that, and like what the district's policy is around that, since it's kind of unclear, and I think that's why it's on the agenda and what we're gonna talk about. But if there is something, do you know what I mean, that the district's already prepared or has on that, that would be helpful to like let us know about.
On which part? I'm sorry, Noel.
For, in terms of like Palestine, their response to it, and specifically, I think my question is around like censorship that's happening and the district telling people that they can't have certain posters up and certain language up, like ceasefire. The district telling teachers that they can't teach about Palestine or have certain posters up from like student work. I don't know, there's been a lot of different examples I've heard about around censorship on the topic. And if there's some kind of policy the district has around it, it would be helpful to like hear from whoever made that decision, what that policy is and how it's being enforced and like what law it's pointing to, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because I think there's been a lot of unclarity around that, and if it's something we're gonna like talk about as a group and make a recommendation on, like it would be good to have that information.
Okay, I can check in either with our legal team, Dr. Adams. I also know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay,
No change to your ROTC. What is this?
Oh, someone just spoke about the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. They're trying to put it back in schools. So during public comment, someone came and spoke about it and was just talking about how it's really harmful for students of color and low-income students, and wanted to put it on our radar as something the board's gonna vote on soon, and wanted to connect with any of us that are interested in a lot of people in the city are mobilizing around it and organizing around it.
Around bringing it back.
Around not bringing it back,
Oh.
around trying to stop it from being brought back.
Okay.
Yeah. The board is maybe gonna vote on it in May. So we won't meet before then to like have an official recommendation or anything, but. Yeah, just so kind of. I have a lot more information too about JROTC if anyone's interested. I can send it to you.
I would be, I
Yeah.
wanna know more about why they stopped it in the first place
Yeah,
and what the harm is of bringing it back and with the food environment.
Yeah.
I'd like to get. Thank you.
I also just,
yeah, I mean, I'm happy to talk about it now if anyone wants to stick around or I have a few talking points around it. I'm not an expert. And the meeting's about to end, but if anyone wants to talk about it, we can talk about it offline just quickly.
So we can adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for being here.